This week on The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City.
I didn't care about a room. I wanted to be comfortable with the only person here who I think really knows me and has my back and has been my friend for a long time.
And I do have your back.
Instead of hearing me out, you've called me snobby. You said I'm being ungracious.
Yo, what is up, everybody? Welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, Season 5, Episode 13. Let's get right into this. This is a really good episode, you guys. I've been telling y'all this for the longest, but there's something about this city of Housewives, Salt Lake City, that it just has been delivering every single season, every single episode. So this was a good episode. Let's get started. We start the episode with Meredith. So she's in her house with her husband and kids, which the vocal fry in the house is insane. So she's smelling some scents for the bathtub things that she's going to release. Seth then asks, what happened? Like, what happened at the bar mitzvah? How did things get so crazy? So Meredith says, well, Britney was very sad and very upset. She was crying, and Brooks told me that something was going on. I then went to go ask Britney what was going on, and Britney told me she is slut shaming me. I asked who, and she said Angie. And I'm not down for slut shaming behavior. It's horrible, and I'm not having it. So I told her to get out. Okay. Chloe then says, oh, did you hear that Sean was screaming that you should have listened to both sides? And Meredith is like, no, I'm not going to listen to their sides of the stories because they always gaslight and they always lie. And she made fun of my impairment. Okay. I was just like, calm down. They don't always lie and gaslight, Meredith. That's a bit extreme. But yeah, there's no love lost there between Meredith and Sean and Angie. So then we see Sean and Angie. Angie says that she was very surprised because she was there at the bar mitzvah with the best intentions. I mean, she did get invited. She even throws some shade that perhaps Meredith has no friends, and that's why she was invited, because she says that she even saw Heather's plastic surgeon. So that's that. But she clearly feels bad. I mean, no one wants to be kicked out of anything. Angie is making the point that it's also embarrassing for Meredith because that was supposed to be her spiritual religious event. Sean then says to her, don't ever let that woman put you in a situation like that. And Angie's like, no, trust me, I won't. Okay, so then it's another scene. It's also at Angie's house, but she's going to have Mary over. And it's so funny because Mary lets herself in. Angie's like, somewhere. She clearly wasn't in the living room. She was like fixing things at the table. Mary just goes ahead and goes in and sits, and it's so funny because Angie didn't realize for a bit that Mary was there. Like, big house problems. You don't realize someone's in your living room. She even had to be like, boo. And then she was like, oh my gosh. So they then have a bit of a challenge trying to open the champagne bottle. I just love seeing these two together. But it gets serious. So Mary opens up to Angie about her son. Mary says, as a mom, you can tell when there's something wrong with your kid. And it comes to a point where you say, sit and tell me what's going on. And boy, did he tell me. So Mary tells Angie everything that her son told her, which is that he did drugs, hardcore drugs. He lost his purpose for life. He didn't want to live anymore. It's so sad. Not only was it sad when we saw the actual, scene with her son, but even like this was also even very sad as well. Just seeing Mary say to a friend what happened, especially because she says to Angie, what did I do? What did I do to make him feel like this? And where did I go wrong for not making him feel his worth? Wow. Like, she even says, if I don't blame myself, whose fault is it then? And I was just like, wow. And Angie's like, trying to be there for her. She's like, don't put that on yourself, Mary. Addiction is a disease, just like my mom had. You don't need to figure out, you do need to figure out where things went wrong, but like, you were an amazing parent. One of the things about Mary, especially in the first few seasons of this show, was that she was a bit closed off on a lot of things. You kind of didn't know, like, like, what's up with her? But this season especially, she's been so vulnerable, and even on this confessional she completely just took down those walls, and she was sobbing. She was saying, what do? I don't have anyone to help me. I don't have a mom. I don't have anyone. So it was definitely a very emotional scene. Mary says to Angie, I'm confiding this in you, and Angie's like, yes, absolutely, this doesn't leave here. So it is then time for Mexico. They get to the airport. Bronwyn brought them gifts. Bronwyn is not doing super well. She says that she was bit, that a dog bit her. And at first I was like, oh, okay, maybe just a little bite. You guys, she shows her arm and leg, and it's like bruised, and she had to get stitches. It looked horrible. This is why I don't do dogs. I don't do pets. If there's a dog, I'm going away. Don't bring it anywhere near me. So they then get on a plane. They quickly arrive to Mexico, which, it's beautiful. I was just there a few months ago. I want to go back so bad. Lisa has a lot of things planned. She even made some PowerPoint. Listen, I like the organization. The hotel was unreal. They had 2 villas with 4 rooms in each one. So in villa number 1, it's going to be Meredith, Heather, Lisa, and Britney. Villa number 2 is Whitney, Angie, Bronwyn, and Mary. Lisa had to give this whole explanation, like, okay. Mary's not there yet, though. She will come later. No one really minds the room or the villa situation except Bronwyn. I keep forgetting this, but Bronwyn is supposed to be Lisa's friend, so she feels some type of way that she's not in the villa where her friend is at. Angie then goes to Whitney's room after they've sort of settled in a little bit, and they're trying to figure out what happened. How did Bronwyn get kicked off of the Cool Girls Club? Angie isn't too thrilled that Bronwyn is with them because, remember, they did fight at the party. So then Bronwyn comes into the room with them, with Angie and Whitney. And she tells them both how she feels very weird. She thought her and Lisa were good friends, so that she would be put in that other villa. Especially because they have recently also been talking a lot about Gwen. And they actually had a little bit of a lunch. It was Lisa, John, and Bronwyn talking about the Gwen situation. And plus she says, I was just bit by a dog. I liked what Whitney said, though. She said, at camp, Bronwyn was quick to throw me and Angie under the bus to please Lisa. But now that Lisa is not, really hitting it with her, now she wants to come back to us. Like, let this be a reminder that we are your friends. So don't come at us again for the sake of Lisa. So speaking of Lisa and Meredith talk a little. Lisa now has a problem. Always something with her. So before the trip, Bronwyn called her up and said, hey, should I bring some gifts? Lisa said no. However, Bronwyn still brought some gifts. So Lisa sees this as some sort of dig towards her. She even says, like, why is she bringing gifts? I'm bringing gifts. And I was just thinking, oh my gosh, calm down, lady. What's wrong with a few extra gifts? If she wants to bring some gifts, let her. You don't have to make a big deal out of any little thing. She sounded ridiculous. And Meredith, on the other hand, she still can't let go of the whole thing with Angie. And how she said that Angie lies on people, their businesses. I was just thinking, have you not done that too, Meredith? Have you not done that for many seasons? Like, let's keep it real. Meredith also, you guys, she brought back the gift that Angie gave her for her bar mitzvah. She brought it to return it to Angie. So they then all get ready for dinner. They head down. They have this poor bartender announce that he's making cocktails with Vita. Have any of y'all tried that tequila, by the way? I haven't. I like to support tequilas owned by actual Mexicans. But Britney gave some really good news for her. Remember, she recently had brought up that she has been having issues with her daughter not speaking to her. Well, the other night, one of her daughters spent the night over. So that's really good for her. So they sit down as they're waiting for their table, and Bronwyn says to Lisa, I was a bit shocked by the rooming situation. You put me in the villa with the 2 people who I'm not super cool with, and you and I have been friends with for the longest, but you put Britney in your villa. Britney then jumps in there and says, well, maybe she likes me better. then Britney says, I'm so happy I'm with y'all. No offense. And then Whitney's like, yeah, that is pretty offensive. Lisa is like, well, I'm hosting the trip. And Bronwyn says, you're getting a little bit of a bass on your voice speaking to me. And then Britney keeps on trying to interject and says, oh, this and that. Bronwyn's like, I'm not talking to you. Lisa says, well, the rooms are super close to each other. They're all beautiful. And Bronwyn says, well, you're not understanding what I'm saying. The problem is not with the rooms. It's with what's happening between you and I. Maybe you should hear what I have to say instead of telling me to be grateful that Lisa Barlow took me on a trip. And Lisa says, oh, well, you go on a lot of trips, and I like to have everything perfectly detailed for my trips. And Bronwyn's like, well, let's remember that you were the one that was being ungrateful on my trip. Lisa's like, why? Because I didn't want to fly coach? I don't fly coach. So now they're fighting about that. This is one of the most out of touch with reality arguments I've heard. But hearing Lisa Barlow tell someone that they lack gratitude is like the joke of the year. But anyway, they keep going back and forth, and Heather asks Bronwyn, what do you want? Like, what do you need to hear from her to make things better? Whitney then says to Lisa, maybe you should just say you're sorry that she feels like that. But because Lisa hates Whitney so much, she got I think anything Whitney says will make her mad, so she wasn't even paying attention. Their table is then ready for them, and on their way there, as they're walking to the table, Bronwyn and Lisa just bickering back and forth. So the table had place cards. It was hilarious because Angie's seat had the shampoos that she gave to Meredith as a gift that now Meredith is returning to her, and she put them inside of a Brooks Marks bag. Meredith says, well, you said that you didn't want them. No, you said that you wanted them back. And Angie's like, did I say that? And Meredith's like, did you say that? And Angie's like, well, did I? So they're going back and forth. It's kind of funny. Britney, though, this woman just can't seem to zip it if it doesn't involve her. So Britney says, well, if I was Meredith, I would return the gift as well. And Angie says, stay out of it. And Britney keeps going. She's like, oh, well, Angie, you got kicked out because from what I've heard, you have a pattern of slut-shaming people. And Angie then, she gets the bag and says to Britney, here, get the shampoo because your fried up hair needs it. And she throws the bag, but the bag was kind of upside down, so the bottles fall on the table. And Britney's like, oh, Angie, that's a whole new low. And Angie says, I didn't know the bag was upside down, you drama queen. That made me laugh. But Britney continues to say, you slut shame me. So now they're fighting over who started with the slut shaming first. Meredith is obviously sticking up for Britney, but then Lisa does as well. So Angie says to her, don't stick up for her right now. You always do that. We know that you choose the friends that you want to stick up for. Lisa then screams, why can't we speak in fact? Let's speak in fact. Then Meredith's crazy self starts screaming as well. It's the same thing over and over and over. And then Britney keeps on yapping about the slut. And then you got this poor Mexican waiter in there trying to talk. Buenas noches. What can I get you? Oh my gosh, it was chaotic. So they order. But Angie wants to finish this conversation with Meredith. So Meredith says to her, I don't even know why you wanted to go to the bar mitzvah in the first place. And Angie says, well, I wanted to see if maybe things could get better. I saw it sort of as an olive branch. She also wanted to experience a bar mitzvah. She was happy to be there, but she clearly was blindsided because she says, I was screamed at and kicked out in front of your kids, in front of your mom, in front of Heather's daughter. It was a lot. And Angie says, I did everything right. And Meredith says, well, no, you didn't do everything right because you slut-shamed her. Bronwyn, who, I mean, we're going to be honest, is kind of the one who started everything at the bar mitzvah. But she does say to Meredith, no, actually, no, it was Britney who used that word first, like outside before the party even started. And oh my gosh, this was making my head hurt. Britney just couldn't stop yapping. And oh, they're all still talking and sex and lingerie and sex positive. Too much. But eventually, to end things, Meredith does say, I do want to say to you, Angie, I may not have had the full story, but I do apologize for the outcome. I didn't want that to happen. Angie then says, thank you, I appreciate that. And you know what, I want to stay in this moment for now. So it actually ended very nicely. So I'm glad they were able to, kind of squash that, at least the party thing. I still don't understand Meredith's problem with Angie. Again, if anyone should be the one having a problem, it should be Angie, because I know Meredith, even in this episode, was still trying to say that she was not the one who started the rumors on Shah's sexuality. And yeah, she might have not been the one who started it. She might have not been the one who said it on camera, but she definitely was the first one on this show to allude to them. And, I mean, quick trip down memory lane. They were at the Trixie Hotel. Meredith goes outside and says the rumors and nastiness surrounding her husband She tells that to Lisa, to Whitney, to Monica. So let's not pretend like your hands are clean, Meredith. But again, I'm glad they were able to squash it. Again, you guys, very dramatic episode. When it comes to Lisa and Bronwyn, I see Bronwyn's side for sure. I also think she's being dramatic though. And because of the way she acted last week and throwing Whitney and Angie under the bus, I'm not really on her side. So I'm actually not on either of their sides. I'm not on Lisa's side and I'm not on Bronwyn's side. But y'all let me know whose side y'all are on. So please don't forget to like and subscribe and I'll catch y'all next time. Y'all have a great one. Bye.